For the next 100 days, I changed Minecraft for the better? This is a cave-only world. I know, what a mess. In this place, every biome that normally sees sunlight is underground. From cherry to oak, woodland mansion to village, nothing has a daylight view, making this challenge a bit harder based on the sheer number of mobs I'm facing. But I'll take on this challenge and turn a little corner of the world into my own, marking one of my best builds to date. So strap in, cause we're starting right now on day 1. Oh, my view is great, but my situation is not. I'm one block from falling to my death, so I just need to get out of here, specifically avoiding these skeletons. Our goals right now are to get wood and find a source of food, but the wood is pretty far away. That's when zombies found me, and I had to jump off the cliff, barely landing in water. But more dead relatives and green boom booms were after me, so I had to make my way down even further into the bottom level of the world. I saw a tree that I thought I could get to, but mobs really said no. I ran around a bit longer, finally making it to our first wood location, marking off goal 1. I made my wood pickaxe and decided on mining deep slate for a change. Technically, this still works as stone, but it takes twice as long. Cousin Daryl greeted me from the afterlife, taking half of my hearts and starting what I like to call my starvation arc. Anyway, I made some stone tools, got shot by a skeleton, and had to run for my life at 3 hearts. All in all, a great start to the video. Other than running for my life, avoiding the ops, and taking fall damage, I'm admiring the world. The fact I could just go and get full diamond armor right now is pretty fun, but time to make smart decisions. I mined into a wall and game planned how I would get food. 1 is killing zombies for rotten flesh. At 1 heart, that could be game over. 2, I could farm some wheat. Just very slowly. And 3, the option I'm currently opting for, cut down trees for apples. While waiting for the trees to disintegrate, I was actually able to kill a zombie, slightly boosting my hunger, but not really by much. Since I'm already second guessing the apple idea, I went to the fast solution of risking death to crit out zombies. That did give me a couple hearts back and allowed me to move on to another tree patch. This time, I did get an apple, so that I would have one in the chamber. But rotten flesh is still a good idea, so I took almost death to zombies just to get a carrot. That's actually a great find though, but if I eat it now, it'll just be a waste. Cause sooner or later, I'm gonna get a shield, be able to farm skeletons, and get bone meal to mass produce this. I continued the tree strat and zombie killing for a little while longer, regaining hearts over half. From there, we had breathing room to get back on hunting zombies, which hit me off my first pillar I tried to kill them on, but ignore that. Anyway, with food coming in like this, we should be good moving on. The next step was getting some iron, a resource that's actually gonna be pretty hard to get considering we're at the bottom of the y-axis. That didn't stop me from securing 7, 3 for a water bucket, 1 for a shield, and 3 for an iron pickaxe. That pick later went on to getting our first diamond. Things are going pretty smooth in the cave. I continued collecting iron and diamonds while on the run, looking for a secluded forest. Once I had one, I broke all the trees and smelted up half iron armor. But an apple did not seem to grace me this time, so I guess we're walking. I did find the spruce biome though, yet couldn't locate any sweetberry bushes. But we've now crossed onto day 2, so let me tell you my real goal. A village. If I can get to one of those, I will have access to food for life, a bunch of items I don't know if I'll be able to get in this world, and also the safety and security of an iron golem. This is also the time we end our starvation arc and enter the lush cave. Yes, I had finally found a reliable food source that I had completely forgotten about before. Sure, it sucks, but you'd eat lard if you were dying. Anyway, yes, we've got food and spent time gathering a load of it. That got me through my run in the deep dark, spotting biomes like the mesa and jungle, along with seeing sugarcane. I didn't know how rare it was, so I grabbed up all 5. The diamond run was also doing numbers on this level. I already have enough for full diamond, but that's boring, so back to gathering more food. I took some more from the ceiling here and spotted tropical fish. I saved them from drowning and put them in my back pocket for later, along with finding ocean biome after ocean biome full of salmon and cod. Of course, I helped myself to some sushi. No one wants to live in an enclosed space like this anyway. Take it from me, I've never touched grass. Well, unless you include Minecraft. Day 3 was pretty similar to the last, just hunting and foraging for some more food items, running around looking at cool biomes like the deserts, lava lakes, and more, but I was still lacking of entertainment. That came at the end of the day, when I found a new 1.21 dog. Yes, if you don't know already, I'm playing in the newest update of the game, so this sick forest dog is now my friend. Now, I'm still on the hunt for a village, but that didn't stop me from finding yet again another food source, that being melons from a nearby jungle. It seemed seemed like a minuscule thing to be grabbing, but little did I know, just over the horizon, I happened to find a village. Yes, that's right, we had finally made it to one, and this is where the fun begins, because everything I want to do in this video all stems from finding it. So I made my way up, stole all of their goods, like the hay bales, books I found, a brewing stand, and a fletching table. But the most important thing that we're going to be doing on this day is moving each and every bed into one room, specifically the church. It's the biggest building and will protect all of the villagers as safe as possible in case something lights on fire and starts burning it all down. So as I said, I took every single bed from every single house, laid it down in the village, and hoped that all of the villagers would just give up and go inside. It worked pretty well, keeping them all safe until I need them. That way, no mob that spawns above and jumps down, or any mob that actually does spawn in the village, can come over and turn each and every one of them. My next move while being here is figuring out where I want to be building my base. Now, obviously we're in a cave world, so I figured it best to actually make a cave-like base. For once, I'm not gonna go extravagant and make a giant tower, I don't have the room for it, but instead, simply mine into a wall. But before that happens, we're gonna make sure our farm's up and running, so I made a sugarcane farm, planted down our melons, carrots, and potatoes, so that when I need them, I'll have food and the ability to make books. Then I got to work on knocking down villagers' homes, specifically in this direction. I had picked the side I wanted to live on, and these were in my way. After tearing down generations upon generations of homes, I lit up the area so that mobs wouldn't spawn on my property. Speaking of property, it's time we start on the base. To do that though, I have to make sure the land fits around me. I'm not just gonna put myself inside of this wall over here and not make the land look good. So we start with terraforming. First I went on the hill to make sure that the wall was indeed flat. Then I built up new layers of grass. I really hate Minecraft builds where it's just completely flat and then the build on top, or I guess the build in the wall here. I don't really know how I justify this, but it was gonna take a lot of dirt, so I had to farm up a bit more and carve out more of the hill. After that, I had to make a sapling farm for oak, because I'm gonna need a ton of it, and I don't really have that much, unless you count stairs. I have a lot of stairs from taking down the villager houses. But since these plants are gonna take a little while to grow, and I don't have a bone meal farm, or any at the moment, that means I have to go to a nearby local forest. Unfortunately, that local forest was at the very bottom of the world, nowhere close to where I'm at now. But I spent the rest of my days farming up oak. Another thing we need for the build and furtherment of the video is spruce, so I went out looking for a spruce biome. Along the way, I was also able to grab some easy ores like diamonds since we're already on the perfect level for it. When I got to the biome, I mined up a few of the spruce trees and let the saplings fall. Thankfully, we don't need old growth taiga to just get the regular old saplings. And when I returned home, I figured out the perfect area for them. The upper left of our base, this little hill area. I don't really know, I'm not gonna like call it anything, but this is where I'll farm spruce trees. After that was settled, I started on the outline of the base. I want to make it look like a hobbit hole, or at the very least a very large hobbit hole. So I made a giant oak circle with stairs in between to even out the design, and when we step back, it looks pretty good. However, I want to put glass on it, so I had to mine into the rock a little bit and make 3 more layers. That way, in the middle, I can put the window and the glass will all be aligned. But when we look at it, the glass texture is not connected though, so I'm gonna have to fix that. Done. The next day, I used a texture pack to make sure that issue didn't happen anymore, and it looks pretty good. Now all I have to do is mine out the inside and actually make a base. The only way to get there, though, is from the side. So I mined out an entrance a little bit to the right, found a lava pool, and mined into the back. I spent a bunch of time just getting the circular layer of the house done. There was a lot to mine out. It's gonna take a while, especially since we have unenchanted tools. Or do we have unenchanted tools? I'm not looking at the footage. Is that shiny? I can't tell. Again, not looking. Anyway, after spending a ton of time mining up the house, we had made some good progress, but that's when I discovered that we have horses in the village, so I could possibly get leather a lot easier. Thus, I went and mined some gold, made some golden carrots, and didn't know how to breed the horses. I tried to breed them like normally, and they just kind of stared at me. So then I googled it, and apparently you have to make them like you first before you can breed them. I don't know why, that's kind of a dumb rule. If you're trying to mass breed horses, that's gonna take a really long time, but we're gonna do it anyway. So I made them like me, and then I bred them, and now we have baby horse. Day 14, I went out to find lapis so we can enchant our tools. Aha, they weren't shiny. Well, I still can't see it, but anyway. We went outside the base to look for some lapis, and it was pretty easy access, cause, you know, we're in a cave. After that, I got my tools some basic enchants for better mining experience, and continued to hollow out the house. The inside of this place is kind of massive, and I really have no idea how I'm going to decorate it. But at the very least, I know what block's going to be the interior of it, and that's oak wood. well, stripped oak wood. Oak wood kind of looks really bad now that I've like used stripped for so long. Anyway, after we had the beginning of the house hollowed out, I started placing in stacks of oak for the interior. Although, like I said, we're gonna be needing a lot of oak because this is a massive circle. That's why the next couple of days I went to go farm some more oak trees. I really wish you can make a big oak tree, not the annoying ones we have now, like the 2-wide oak trees that are like spruce. Would be really cool. Someone make that mod. Anyway, after I had enough oak, I went back to base, placed in some more of the walls, and then decided to add in oak planks. That way the design looked a little bit different and wasn't boring on the eyes. However, we need spruce for the interior. Thus, I went up to our giant trees and mined them all out. I love looking at spruce. When I had enough, I went back inside and started making the entranceway with a balcony overhang. You'll probably have no idea what that means. I honestly really don't know what that means, but we're designing the inside and the entrance is gonna have chests on the left and right. So I made like this little porch thing and then I put like 30 double chests underneath it. That was a lot of double chests, by the way. I also wanted to make areas for all of our important stuff, like crafting, smelting, anviling, and brewing, I guess. But I didn't have all the ores for it, so I went out mining for coal and iron. That way I can make all of the interact blocks, like anvils, stone cutters, and blast furnaces. Another thing we need in the base is enchants, so on the top of the balcony, I hollowed out the backside for the level 30 table. Although it's probably gonna take me a long time to get that level 30, but anyway, back on the house, I made a platform on the left and right side for all my needs: crafting, smoking, furnacing, brewing, basically the one-stop shop for anything I need to do with any item. Another thing I wanted to make was an extension to the build, one inside and out. What I mean by this is the hobbit hole needs a smaller hole on the top right of it, I guess. Anyway, I'm making a spruce hobbit hole on the outside specific to my bedroom. I figured it would extend off the enchant table area, so I just mined out the entire hole, made the walls out of spruce, and filled the room with more interact blocks and my bed. I really don't need any like barrels or more crafting tables or anything. It's really just my bed, but I did place down armor stands too, so I guess if I get more armors or like armor trimmed or armor trimmed armor or trimmed armor, But yeah, it's just really my bedroom. The next few days, I really want to go mining, but my food stock has plummeted to the floor. Thus, I decided the best way to get more, or at least at the moment, is to go fishing. It's probably the only way to get more at the moment. I don't have bone meal, I don't have animals, so the water. I grabbed a fishing rod and headed over to the nearest lake. Floating ocean, I really don't know what this is. It's a cave lake, I guess, and just sat here for quite some time, throwing my rod into the water. It took me a little bit, but eventually I had 23 salmon and 28 cod. That's a decent enough to run around when I go mining, and unfortunately I didn't get anything else of note. After I smelted it up, I got on our mission. The editor can edit this however they want, but a mining trip is a mining trip. So for like the next hour, I went ahead and grabbed 2.5 stacks of iron, 30 lapis, 50 gold, a stack of coal, and 43 more diamonds, which is a very favorable haul. I also found my dog from day 3. Yeah, I'd like lost him in all of my jumps between biomes, but somehow he just returned to me. Like I got close enough that he teleported over to me. So I safely brought him back to my house and he is still living there to this day. I think. Days 27 through 29, I wanted to do some terraforming around the base, and specific to that, I saw this really cool waterfall, like to the top left of my base, and absolutely had to do something with it. So I blocked off all of the water and encapsulated it so I can make a pond here later. And I cleaned up all the water leaking onto this area, because I'm sure I can do something up here. Other than that though, I realized that there was a lot of terraforming to do if I wanted to make this place my own. So I grabbed all the dirt that I could and started forming sloping hills. Basically from when I enter my base all the way down to the giant gorge that I'm gonna eventually make, I want it to be a smooth transition where I can plant some farms, maybe trees, have a river, I don't really know yet, but the idea still stands. Although this plan did take a lot of dirt just to map out, like this is literally the outline I'm doing, which meant I had to spend a lot of time gathering dirt from an area that wasn't gonna be an eyesore after I stole it all. Once all the dirt was in place, I got to work on day 30 on the hillside cliffs. Now I have made cliff sides in the past and they have looked pretty good, so I have a general idea of how I want to make it. I started with the hillside on the left of my base if you leave from the front, which still, does that work? I don't really know, but it's on the left to me. I made an overhang of dirt blocks that'll eventually turn into grass, and then did indents of stone and decorated it to look like it sloped inward. But after I was done with that, I finally got rid of that weird oak tree farm I had in the village on the main level. I don't think I'll be needing it anymore. And then I mapped out pathways I want in this world. We're gonna go from the entrance of my base all the way down to the eventual gorge, and then we'll do paths on the left and right side where I can climb up a ladder and get on top of these hills. By the end end of the day, I put the path in place and we had a rough idea of how the base was gonna look. Days 31 and 32 comes the beautification arc. Since the pathways are in place, it's time I got to work on decorating the area out front. On both the left and the right side, I added in a very small waterfall leading into a river which led into a pond. It was a very simple design, literally like a 1-block stream, but its purpose is to hydrate the crops while looking good. Then I gave each waterfall a nice stone trim to simulate the stream. After that was done, the farms were up next, which I started with a leaf outline. Green oak leaves just look really good, especially when they're used on farms. And once I had the farms in place, next was hoeing the ground and planting in the seeds. But I don't have a ton of that, so I moved on to the final things. Bridges. Technically, I can just jump over the stream and get to the next area, but that would seem pretty boring. So instead, I did like a double trapdoor campfire bridge. I don't know, it's really small, but I use it a lot and I really like it. And to finish out the day, I planted some trees and bone mealed them in the area to get the exact height of the trees that I wanted, as well as making sure it all looked good. I think I spaced them out well. Now I wanted a quick break from building. We had been going at this for a few days now, and it only felt right to finally go to the Nether. Now the reason I'm going to the Nether is quite dumb. I mean, it's fairly normal to go there and, you know, look around, maybe go to the Nether Fortress, find a bastion, but no, I'm looking for quartz. I don't know why, but I wanted to level 30 enchant. I just didn't have a level 30 enchant table, so I kind of went around the Nether just gathering a bunch of quartz and levels for no reason at all. I don't know, why are we doing this? Stop mining the quartz. Stop! But since I am an idiot and forgot about this, I went back, grabbed all the gold that I had, returned to the Nether, and threw it at a pig, hoping for a ton of leather trades. Unfortunately, I only got around 15, which wasn't great. When I left, I remembered that we had horses, but I have not been keeping up with the breeding process, so we don't have a lot, and they're not gonna really make up for the lack of leather that I have. It's just gonna take a long time for those, so we might need to come up with plan B. Which comes in the next couple of days, where I am back in the Nether, and instead of mining for quartz, we're going strictly for gold. But I don't have fortune or even silk touch to make this better, so instead we're just mining the regular ore like an idiot. But I got around like 12 stacks of nuggets when I found a bastion. Inside, I lured away all of the guards on the chest just by simply mining them out of the world. I don't know why they chased me, I have a faster pickaxe. After they were all nice and burning, I went to the chest to check out if there was a ton of gold inside, and there wasn't. I mean, there's a little bit, but nothing too amazing. Then I found a horde of pigs in a hole, but some were brutes, so I had to be careful taking them out, which got me down to half of a heart. I don't know what I was doing. I was being very reckless, but that was the perfect opportunity to trade. I just didn't have the gold crafted yet. Turns out going for gold nuggets without a crafting table is a really dumb idea. So I made my way over to a warped biome, mined down the tree, made a crafting table, crafted the ingots, and went back to the bastion where I threw all of the gold into the pigs. Now I thought a little bit over a stack of gold was quite a lot, but not for these guys. They went through it really fast. I got 28 leather out of that though, so I guess all in all it was a pretty good trade, but there was still more loot residing in the bastion. On the lower level I had to be extremely careful, but I was wearing gold this time so they wouldn't exactly target me. In the chests I found more leather, the snout armor trim, which I've never actually used, a mending diamond pickaxe, which was really awesome, and a heck ton of golden carrots. Why do y'all need this? I don't think you're vegan. I returned home pretty happy with the find, and now I have enough leather and sugarcane to finally make the enchant table. Putting down these books felt really good, and we got our level 30 enchant fortune 2 on a shovel? What the heck is this? I tried again and got a fortune 2 efficiency 4 on a pickaxe. Then I got plain efficiency 4 on an axe and cried seeing all my levels disappear. Those were terrible enchants. After that tremendous loss, I decided to start out day 38 by harvesting wood for a new side project. I guess technically there are 2 side projects, but we're doing one right off the bat, so I didn't call that one a side project. There was no way to get to the tops of these cliffs where I made the spruce area and where I will eventually make my oak farm. So to remedy that, I decided to do a hanging dock design on both cliffs. Basically what it is a small dock made out of spruce with a ladder falling to the floor. It's a ladder with like trapdoors on the back. It looks like a hanging ladder. It's pretty cool. The design was super simple, and the only way I could really make it look better were having some railings, maybe barrels and leaves. But once the spruce design was done, I copied the entire thing out of oak on the other shorter cliffside. That way if I ever need to get up to the pond where I think I eventually placed down sugarcane, I'll have this thing. After that I got to work on the real side project, the entranceway to our base. Right now, I go to the base via this stone tunnel next to the lava pool and inside. It's a really bad way to enter the base, so it's finally time to change that. I hollowed out the entrance, making a 3x3 area, and determined the wood pattern I was going to be using. Of course, we're mixing in both spruce and oak. Then I determined the slope of the entrance, because we do technically walk up and into the base, so I had to figure out the pathing for that. Then I put in some walls, decorated the corners with like little leaf areas and crafting tables. It looks all right. And that's when I ran out of oak wood. I couldn't continue the project any further, so I took some bone meal and farmed up a bit more outside the base. Unfortunately, there are no tree cutting mods, so I had to do this manually. All right, 1.21 wasn't updated for this yet. After getting all of the oak that I needed, that's when I realized the Fire Nation attacked. Oh, no, 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 my entire house, it's all wood. It's all wood. I had forgotten a missing lava connection to our house, which caused a lot of it to burn down, most devastatingly being the bookshelves that I just worked so hard to get. A lot of them burned down along with the entrance to our base. It was really sad to see, which meant the rest of my days I had to spend time covering up all of the lava, solving the issue, and going back to redesigning the entrance. By the end of the day, we had a functioning brand new tunnel entrance to the base, which looked amazing. But we did lose a lot of books in the process. Honestly, the level 30 enchant table screwed me over last time, so who cares? Well, now that I lack bookshelves, it's time to go back to the nether. I took a stack of gold with me and decided we're trading with piglins again. Unfortunately, this time around, they weren't so generous. I instead got 4 books, which is okay, but 16 leather. Not great. I could have gotten a lot more, so I went back home, grabbed some more gold, and decided we're just gonna stick it out. However, the next couple of guys I got working for me did the job, giving me another 48 leather. Which is great, because now I can return home with all my stuff and make my bookshelves. Oh wait, now I'm out of sugarcane. Yep, turns out I had basically used all of my cane and decided to break my farm of it because I didn't need it anymore. Haha. I mean, I did still have a little bit, which was planted in our farm/river area, but I needed a lot more. That's when I walked outside and spotted some cane at basically max height, but it was a lot, so I think I might go for it later. But day 43 was really meant for chores. I went over and chopped down some spruce trees for more Fletcher trades. You'd think it's for emeralds. I mean, yeah, emeralds is pretty good, but I'm also getting XP for once I do get that level 30. And that's when I noticed that the farms are actually grown for once, so I was able to harvest them. I never really harvest the farms that I make in videos. I don't know why, I just never seem to need that stuff. I don't know, I played Minecraft a little weird. Once that was all done, I decided to take the hike to go get that sugarcane. It was really high up, it took a lot of building, but hey, we got it, and we can see our house from here, which is pretty cool, but it wasn't enough sugarcane to like make anything, so we're just gonna have to plant it down and hope it grows real fast. But now that we have bookshelves pretty close to mine, I realized that the horses are probably not good to have anymore. I mean, sure, I've kind of bred them throughout the 100 days, we have a decent amount of them, but I don't really feel like killing them for leather when it's a lot easier to trade, apparently, and faster. So instead, I just decided to keep a couple of them and pen them closer to our house. I don't know what I'll use them for, if I'll use them for anything, but at the very least we have a horse we can ride, I guess. Then I went back to trade for emeralds and chop some more spruce trees. That's because we're leveling up the farmer villager. Nope, that has nothing to do with this. Hold on, just give it a minute. We're leveling up the farmer villager with emeralds that I got so I can get golden carrots. That way I'm not starving to death. And by that time, the sugarcane had grown up enough that I was able to make our full level 30 enchant table. Again. And now you see the fruits of our labor for chopping down trees and trading with the Fletchers. I'm able to enchant our axe with Fortune 3, Efficiency 4, Unbreaking 3, and a shovel with Fortune 2, Unbreaking 3. That could have been better. Day 46 could have been a more important day, but I decided to re-roll a librarian for a looting 3 book the entire day. I don't remember why I wanted the looting 3 book either, actually, so I guess just enjoy the re-rolling. I'm sorry. The next couple of days, I start out by Fletcher trading for some levels and enchanting a sword with Sharp 4, Sweeping Edge 3, and Unbreaking 3. And then I added looting to— oh, now I remember the plan. We're gonna go to the Nether Roof. And by Nether Roof, I mean Overworld Roof, because again, we're in a cave. Yes, technically above me is bedrock, which means we're gonna have to break through it. So I'm gonna need some things to do that. The most important one out of every item we're gonna need is gunpowder, which is why I got looting, so I can go run around and get it. But since that's only one of the other parts, I had to make sure I had every other item. We need redstone, sand, pistons, obsidian, trapdoors, and I was gonna say gunpowder, but I already said that, so Move on. After I established everything that I needed, we went out hunting gunpowder. Thankfully, we're in a very dark area, which means that creepers are gonna spawn everywhere. I was able to run amok around the world and gather up enough gunpowder to make 24 TNT. Once I had everything, I mined up to the top of the world using my waterfall area and found the exact top block of the world. That way I can pearl through all the way to the top and I won't die to suffocation. Once I was up there, I built the machine to break bedrock. Now what you do is you light the TNT and make yourself go down with the trapdoor and then try and spam place the piston for it to hopefully work. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at this because I've never done it before, so it took more than one try. At one point, I got pretty nervous because like I only had enough TNT for so many attempts. But the reality of it is I had enough. I was sure of it and I kept going until I broke the bedrock. Now that I can have a ladder all the way up to above the world, it's time we make a mob farm. The Fletchers aren't giving me enough levels these days, so I went back down, gathered all of the resources I may need, went back up to the roof, and built up 120 blocks in the sky. Then I made the platform for the farm. And since you've already seen how most of this is done, I'm not gonna really bore you. I built up 20 blocks, I built the water channels, and then I ran out of blocks, actually. I think we're gonna have to continue this another day. That meant I had to go back down and refresh my block count. I grabbed more cobblestone and spruce just in case I run out again. Then I got back to the farm, building out the main spawning platform. That's when I realized that I didn't put torches down below, so mobs started to spawn, which could blow me up at any moment. It was a fight to get them off the platform. At one point, a creeper tried to follow me down into the water that I jumped to. That was pretty scary. But once we had that lit up, I was back to the farm, running out of cobblestone and having to switch to spruce. Look, this is above the bedrock. I'm not gonna really see it, so who cares what blocks I'm using. Then I put in our slab roof, and since I don't want spiders to spawn on this, I brought some carpet with me. They normally slow down the farm, so I did a pattern that apparently prevents spiders from spawning. I don't really know how they spawn or like how they're meant to. But anyway, apparently this makes it so that they won't. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough, so we'll have to get wool another way. After that, the farm's technically done, so I went down to wait for it when phantoms spawned and tried to knock me off. I really didn't ask for sky demons, so I killed them, and that's when our mob farm started to work. It was a little bit slower than I liked, but it's still really good compared to, well, Fletcher's. So after completing the build, I went back down to base and realized it's on fire again. What in the world are we doing? First thing I did was run inside to check out the books because I had to make sure that they were not burning down. Thankfully, they didn't. So then I played firefighter and put it out. But man, oh man, this is the second time. And if it happens again, I'm gonna burn it down myself. But that did mean the rest of my day was looking for the leftover lava channel that I somehow missed and then rebuilding our tunnel. Again. Day 55, I went to re-roll a villager for a book trade, specifically bookshelf trades. I bought 16 bookshelves because the idea is to set up an enchant table up top the mob farm. I still had some gear that wasn't even enchanted with protection, so when I got up there, I grinded out the farm and enchanted my legs with Prot 3, semi-maxing out my gear. Then I wanted to attempt a spider farm because I was pretty sure that spiders were clogging up the mob farm already. And about, I don't know, 40 days ago, I spotted a spawner underneath our base, which technically means it can be active at all times. However, I've never dealt with spiders in a mob spawner before, and the fact that they climb walls is a little tricky for me. I don't really have any ideas on how to make this. All I know is first things first, we're mining out the area for spawning. 4x4 in every direction. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. I'm pretty sure it's 4. After that, I set up the water chamber. We're gonna flow it into a corner and just hope they choose not to climb walls. After that, I set up the killing chamber and waited. It's a pretty rudimentary farm, and it didn't work at all. I mean, if it did, I mean, I kind of killed stuff, but then they would just run into the sky. So nothing was really flowing in, and I had to fix it. Unfortunately, I don't actually know how to fix it. My brain isn't smart enough for Minecraft spider AI. That led to me having to look up a way to do it. Yeah, I know, I try and stay away from tutorials. I try and stay away from that stuff. So I Google imaged what a spider spawner would look like for like 4 seconds, looked at it, and just implemented it into the world. Okay, we don't even count that. What I apparently had to do was set up some water at the top, put some signs there, and they climb the wall and then drown to death, which I guess still might drop strings, so it's good. And then in the flowing chamber, the idea is to get them to go over a fence and then onto a slab. I don't really know how that works, but I guess it does. So I implemented that as well, and it did start to work. A lot of them started to drown, but a lot of them also went into my looting 3 sword, which got me a lot of string. That way I could make some wool, go up to the top of the world, get into the mob farm, place down all of our carpet, and get rid of any spiders that could spawn in here. Then I spent the rest of my day healing up my pickaxe, because mining out the spawner was a lot. Day 60, I was still at the farm with the goal to grind up some more levels, but in reality, we had a side quest to get another chicken. I have had one down at my base for however long, and since it doesn't lay eggs because it's technically a hostile mob, I need another chicken. With the spawn rates maximized at the farm, I had a pretty good chance to get a baby zombie riding a chicken. Turns out it happened really quickly, but I missed out on the chance because I didn't have a boat or lead and left the area to go grab one, which meant when I got back up top to the mob farm, it had already despawned. Thankfully though, another one decided to be ready for me. Round number 2 of chicken came down and I rescued it and put it in a boat. Now it is safe and sound, hopefully, when I leave the area, because we're going back down to trade with the librarian for name tags. It literally takes like the max level of a librarian to get there, so rip a lot of my emeralds, but I bought 2 name tags for both my chickens. I named the one that we have already at base Francis, and the other one above Scott. I'm just now realizing those are both male names. It's fine. I led Scott all the way down to Francis and closed them in their own pen. Then I bred them. Turns out, baby spawned, so one's lying to another. Whatever, it's fine. It's finally time to start work on the village end of our base. I want to make a villager breeder and a villager hall on the other side of the gorge that I still have to build. But to accomplish this, I have to cut down every villager house. No one's living in these anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Technically, these are just extra resources that I'm able to grab up. It did end up taking a little while, but now that we've got fairly maxed tools, it was an easy challenge. After that, I got to work on the gorge. I mined out the top layer of dirt and designed how it was going to look. This is like a giant gap that normally would have a river here, but no, it's just gonna make you fall down. I continued mining it until we got down to the stone layer, which ended day 62. The next day, we were able to finish off the gorge and make sure that the design of it on the sides wasn't looking too bad. It does look natural, so it's all fine and dandy. After that, I gathered materials for a bridge. Of course, we're gonna make our way over to the other side, and that starts with spruce pillars. Then, of course, I used an oak floor with campfires throughout. That way, we get a little bit of texture. And of course, for the railings, I decided to use 3 different fence types and trapdoors. It was very interesting, but now we have an official fall trap and a way to get over to the other side. Now, day 65, I realized that I needed leather for another thing, but it wasn't bookshelves this time. But since I'm kind of sick of trading gold and getting rid of my gold, because I could use that in the future, I'm gonna use my looting 3 to kill hoglins. I went through the Crimson Biome, ripping the heck out of every hoglin that I saw, getting up to like 50. It was pretty nice receiving all of this leather because we're going to use it for item frames when I get back to base. But before I do, I found another trophy bastion, or whatever this thing's called. I call it trophy because it looks like there's like this gold trophy out front. So I stole from it. That's when I decided to return. Why is there another trophy bastion? Okay, fine. I found another trophy bastion, so I made out with like 30 gold. When it comes to complaining, I guess this worked because I was just saying how I really didn't want to give away my gold, and they were like, here, take some. Anyway, back at base, I made up all 30 item frames and placed them on the chests. The reason for this is because it's organization time. I may have 30 chests, but I'm using about 4 of them at the moment, and that's, well, maybe like 7. I don't even know how many I'm using, but I'm using a lot, and it's time to organize it up. So I made a different type of chest for everything. Wood types, log types, leaves, ores, food, mob drops, potions, etc. It was a huge mess, but now it's all good. The next couple of days I wanted to go out for some iron because I didn't have much and it's pretty useful for builds coming up in the future. So I went to a new section of the cave world. I mean, it's a cave in a cave. Anyway, it was basically right next to this giant hump in the world. I don't really know what this is, but I figured there was a structure inside. Also, there was iron around it, which was useful. After grabbing up a bit of iron, I mined inside to find nothing. So I guess I was wrong. This giant hump is somehow naturally generating. But I stuck next to it, continuing to find more and more iron around it until I stumbled upon a trial chamber. Yep, that's right. The big hump was something. This is only the second 100 days where I've actually had experience in a trial chamber, and it all starts the same. Random skeletons thinking they're better than me. I finished off my first trial, not getting a key though, so I moved on to my favorite room ever. This one I call the skeleton stacking room because every level has more and more skeletons. This is the most annoying part of a trial chamber, is trying to fight hordes of skeletons while just getting keys. When I did get a key, I opened a chest and got iron and a shield. The shield would have been helpful against those skeletons, actually. The next one I tried to time, getting Bad Omen, because it's the best thing you can get here, which leads to the Ominous Trials. But since we still have more of this place to go, I continued farming up more and more trial keys, using those to get wind charges, ores, and more Bad Omen from whatever these crate things are. However, this is only stage 1 of the day, because after I farmed up all the keys that I could, I went back for the ominous ones. Drinking a Bad Omen in the breeze room started off the ominous trial. However, after defeating the trial, I got steak. So that's cool, I guess. Then we went on to farming more of the spawners, fighting off diamond skeletons, getting me my first ominous key. Then my second one after another spawner, and I decided to open up one of the OP ominous crate thingies. I got the flow armor trim, wind charges, emeralds, and diamonds. This started a succession of me opening up the ominous crates and getting pretty much nothing. I'll list it off. We got some discs, wind charges, a Bad Omen, a banner, some arrows, more wind charges, emeralds, you think we have enough wind charges yet? But even after spending 3 days down here, I still didn't get the mace head. I never do. I never will. I don't understand. And when I got back to base, I realized my gear was extremely broken. So I set it up on one of our armor stands in our bedroom to put mending on later, because I don't have that right now. The last couple of days were fairly exciting, so I decided to calm down a bit. I grabbed some bone meal and put it all over the land. Everything here was pretty flat and boring since I built it up like 60 days ago, but I beautified it a little bit. Then I moved on to chopping down a bunch of spruce trees. Not only am I going to be needing these for trades, but I have some builds coming up that I really want to do. Speaking of builds, after farming spruce trees for what felt like forever, I went on to mining deep slate. I didn't want to do it too far away from the base, but I also didn't want to do it too close, because I don't want this like giant lump of non-deep slate in my world. So I headed down to a nearby area and chopped out a huge portion of the world. Now that most of the preparation was done, I got back to the village. First up was fixing all of these path blocks. There are way too many of these, and it's ugly, like very ugly. So I went around getting rid of them and returning them to grass, or I guess dirt, and then they'll go back to grass. After that, I made sure to gather up all of the stuff I'll need for this villager trading hall idea I have. We grabbed oak, spruce, and deep slate. Pretty much everything I'll just need. Then I began building. First was the middle part, which was going to be like a 2-story with a spruce outline and oak middle. Then on the left and right side of this, I'll have the stalls, I guess. We start on the right side, where I separated out the stalls with stripped oak, did my normal spruce pillar outline, and got to the roof by the end of the day, which is going to be a deep slate tile trim with spruce in the middle. However, sky demons attacked, so I had to run back to base. Day 74, I finished off the roof with that spruce inside I talked about, and then started working on the middle layer. Since we had the stalls done, I figured it best to finish off the little house part that we have. I don't think I'll use this place for anything, but anyway, I worked on the second layer of it, building up all of the oak. After that, I had to add in a roof, which of course I trimmed with deep slate and filled in with spruce. Then I moved on to a little bit of decoration on the villager stalls, adding in oak trapdoors for depth, as well as spruce trapdoors to keep the villagers inside. But that's only half of this entire thing done, and since I want to do a cool cut, we're gonna go sit by this crafting table, look at the trading hall, and boom! That's it, now it's done. On day 75, it was finished up, and we have our villager trading hall, which I realized I can't even use this yet because I need a lot of villagers, and I can't spare them as we need them for breeding. That realization started one of our longest projects ever, a villager breeder. Not that I've ever made an effective one. First step to this was gathering more resources. Of course, we're going to be needing a lot more oak and spruce. Those are the main wood types, and it wouldn't feel like one of my videos without them. Then we went to planning. I mined out the length and width of this design in the dirt, which required a lot of terraforming, actually. I had to get rid of an entire cave wall. Yeah, this left wall over here, this is in the way. So I had to mine it all out, get rid of it, rework it back into the world to make it look a little bit better, and then dig out the dirt design for the breeder, which outlined all of the sections. Other than adding in spruce, this build is going to require a lot of glass, or at least the tutorial that I'm watching had a lot of glass in it, so I went to a nearby cave desert to get more. It's actually pretty cool having biomes like this just laying around. I know I haven't admired all of the cave biomes so far, but the desert one's pretty cool. Then I took all that sand, smelted it down, and made it into white stained glass. I placed all that in and decorated the outside pillars to match my trading hall build. Then I built up another middle story because I literally can't think of another design for the middle section, and I don't really know what I'm doing at the moment. Then I made the roof, which is again just slanted deep slate with a spruce interior, but I realized I'm gonna have to mine out a bunch of the roof because of poor planning. Yeah, that's right, this build is a lot taller than I expected. After the shell of the build was done and it was looking great, it was time for the breeding part. Inside, the middle is gonna have a drop down for baby villagers. On the left and right, I'll add in farms with beds and composters for farming villagers. That way they can harvest some carrots, throw it at their loved one, and out comes a baby. I think. Is that how it works? I never had the birds and bees conversation. And after that's done, they'll walk into the trapdoor section in the middle, fall into water, and that's where my railway system under the farm will allow me to press a button and shoot a villager up to the surface for processing. Actually, now that I think about it, this almost directly relates to the movie Boss Baby. After the factory was pretty much done, the last thing I had to do, other than get these villagers inside, which was really fun, was plant down some carrots. I used a couple stacks to fill out the farm and threw some at the villagers so that they would breed. After we get some babies, I can turn those freshly into farmers and we'll be good to go to kick off the farm. While I was gone, the babies are booming. The farm is working pretty well, so I separated out a couple of the villagers so that one side, when this child grows up, it'll be completed. However, we still have Fletchers on the other side trying to make more kids. In the meantime though, we gotta fill up our trading hall. We still have leftover villagers from the church, so I spent the rest of my day slowly boating them over to their cells. I separated out each type of villager, one side being for Fletchers and one for librarians. After I had all the villagers out of the church, I was finally able to take it down, getting some random extra blocks and finding an iron golem in here. To be fair, I'm shocked there weren't 100 after the abuse these guys went through for the last 80 days, but it's fine. Then I went on an adventure. I was looking for two different things, moss and slime. Moss for decorating around the breeder and trading hall, and slime because I want the ability with a flick of a switch to turn on and off the job blocks. That way I can get the XP behind them when I trade for my sticks. However, finding a slime chunk in a cave is a lot harder than I thought it would be. Apparently, nothing near the base was slime, and I ended up going so far that I wandered into an unrendable chunk area that crashed my game. Thankfully, I was still able to load up the world afterwards and find some slimes. I got 37 balls from these guys. It was a mess of a fight, I'll tell you what. But I made my way home so that I can make some pistons. Once I did, I set them up underneath the villagers, all connecting with one lever that controls them. I tried to run the redstone through the pistons, thinking that the redstone would light up the piston block, which would light up the redstone after it, and it doesn't work like that. I know nothing of redstone. So after a redesign, we had our working lever. And to test it out, I went and grabbed some spruce and traded it with the villagers. Then I flipped the switch and we had all the XP in the world. It was great. The next thing we have to test out is the breeder railway. So I went ahead and made more rails and set them up for the trading hall. Then I pushed the button and I watched a villager get sucked up all the way to the trading hall. It was great. I love that these guys get born, shoved into a hole, taken out of the hole, and shoved into a new one. Anyway, now that we have this guy set up, I went ahead and re-rolled him for days just trying to get mending. I ended up getting it for 17 emeralds, which is a good trade. It just took way too freaking long. But I was able to combine that with my gear so I can finally wear it after like 10 days of being in half diamond and half iron. I missed my gear. Day 90, we're going for the end. I'm gonna spend the day getting everything I'll need for the venture. First off, buying some bows from the Fletcher. That way I can actually shoot the dragon. I don't really like trying to enchant bows. It takes way too long, so I normally just buy them from the Fletcher and combine them up into something that's useful. Then I went to work on getting more spruce and trading them with the villagers. Because even though we have mending on our armor now, I have 0 durability, so I had to work that up a bit. And the final things we'll be needing are fireworks, arrows, and a mending book combined with an anvil. So when we do find the elytra, we'll have a semi-maxed one right away. Now, of course, the final element is the Eyes of Ender. We don't have any blaze rods because I refuse to go to the Nether anymore. I've been there way too long this video, but we did decide to go back and go to the fortress. I've been there once before, so I already knew where it was. It was just a super long trek away. Once I got there, I farmed up some blazes for the rods, returned home, and decided to brew some strength potions because I never actually do that and figured it'd be good for once. I remember in past videos, I kind of just take on the dragon and it takes a little bit too long sometimes, so so strength will help a little bit. Oh, and I fed the chickens, which, you know, they're doing well. I just haven't done anything with them ever since getting carrot villagers, and now I can trade for arrows with Fletchers, so they're ultimately useless. Even though that's the case, we are off to the end. I threw my first die, which led straight into an ocean biome. When I got there, I realized it'd be inefficient to cross this without a boat, so I went all the way back to base to make one, even though there were trees on the way back. I don't know what I was doing. Time management, I guess. Eventually, when I got back and started boating through the oceans, it changed to a warm one. It actually looked really cool. There was like sand all over the place. There was coral at the bottom of the cave, and I don't know. This was the coolest biome I had seen so far. And it's good that we found it because apparently this is where the stronghold was. I threw an eye and it went straight down, so I mined down and fell into another ocean. I don't even know what's happening. There's like multi-level cave oceans now. But I kept going down, and that's when I found the stronghold. The first room that I found in here that was good other than the portal room happened to be a library. I stole a bunch of the books from here just in case I happen to come back and my base is on fire again. And from the chest, I did get an okay book, I guess, but also an eye template, which is good because I can use that on my armor. And by the end of day 92, we had found the end portal. Now all that's left to do is go and kill the dragon. Every fight starts off the same, with me taking out every crystal that I can from the ground, or sometimes building up and getting to the top of one of the pillars and taking him out from there. However, the only thing that stops me from doing this in one take are the caged crystals. So once those are out, it's just me and a dragon. This time I can drink a strength potion and absolutely karate chop the heck out of this dragon's skull. It worked wonders this time, killing the dragon in record time and getting me a bunch of XP, which full healed my armor if it wasn't already. Then we did the normal steal the dragon egg and build out to the outer end. Now all I have to do is find an end city, which normally takes a very long time. The first one that I found was giant. I mean, it was really impressive how big this one was. When I got there, I hunted down alien life forms for their boxes, stole their ores, diamond armor, and tools from chests, and of course, built over to the ship. That's where I got my elytra and added the mending book to it. That way I can fly home nice and easy without having to worry about it breaking. Once I returned home through the portal, I did my patent pending dragon egg lamp, where I just put the dragon egg down and then add a quartz pillar on top to make it look like a lampshade. I'm totally not patent infringing on a friend of mine and stealing his idea. Now we are super close to the end of this video, so it's finally time we do one last thing, and basically the only thing I can think of. Upgrade our gear. I've been chilling in diamond for most of this video because, well, it's all around us, but it's also getting a little boring on the eyes, so soon enough I'm headed to hell. But first things first, I had to max out a sword. We had gotten a couple really great swords from the end, so I combined them up to make one of the best swords I'd ever even seen. I probably won't end up using it because I like axes, but still, I have it in my inventory now. After that, I wanted to re-roll a villager for an unbreaking trade because our elytra still only has mending on it, so I spent some time doing that to max out the elytra. And finally, we're going into the red dimension. I mined down to Y15 and got busy mining. Pretty quickly, I had gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Debras, but who wants to see all that fun stuff? Because let's be honest, that's where my luck stopped. Over the course of the next few days, I was not getting much netherite. It took me until day 100 to leave here with 20, meaning in like 3 days, I found 12. Either I suck at mining or this game just didn't want me to have any. When I got back to base, I smelted it all up and crafted 5 ingots, a record low for me. I don't even think I've ever had 5 before. That's such a low number. But I did decide to turn my armor into netherite alongside my trusty axe, because you know, it's been with me the entire video. Then to shove off the video, I trimmed it with Flow Diamond, making it look amazing. This is still easily one of my favorite trims in the entire game. But again, that's all my time. We made an amazing base over the course of these last 100 days with so many amazing different things surrounding it without even seeing the sun. I took the cave world to its maximum for these 100 days and I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel. We are so close to hitting 1 million subscribers and I would love to do this by the end of the year. I have something planned to give back to y'all that'll be epic, so please hit that subscribe button. But besides that, I hope you enjoyed this video. See you all in the next one. Peace out.